What ability did this visa under Nafta give these analysts the ability, and I assume it's intra-company transfers versus coming in on an ordinary visa from a different company into the country?
Yeah, these actually are visas that they are part of the Nafta agreement. And really what we're seeing here is essentially a tightening of the immigration policy. And specifically, this used to be a visa that was used for many years by the Canadian banks and others to bring over analysts. And it was because it was a very sort of open-ended, vague description. And what we've seen now is the U.S. Immigration Department has basically said, look, there's been issues with this broad definition. We're going to actually narrowly define it. And by narrowly defining it, they've basically said that if you are not an economist, if you're an analyst, you do not qualify for this visa anymore.
So what are you hearing, Doug, in terms of workarounds for banks, for some of their employees who are in the process of trying to renew their visas? Perhaps they're on this so-called TN visa as an economist, but need a new version of it because they're working in New York.
Yeah, so first of all, this is fairly new. I mean, there was a immigration memo that came out in November, and then there was a press release that came out on December 18th. So I think we're only now starting to hear and see sort of some action on that. You know, there are other alternatives, but, you know, they can be more costly and they can be a little bit more onerous. You know, you could have the prospect of an H-1B visa, but again, those are a lottery system and they actually cost a lot of money. And there is limitations there. You know, you have no more than 6 years that you can be in the country without applying for a green card. The other one is an L1 visa, which is like an intercompany transfer. Those can be done, but again, those are more expensive and there are limitations on that as well. Or, you know, the third alternative is that, you know, these analysts could be repatriated back to their countries in that. But it does leave a bit of a gap for those on Wall Street.